What's good, Detroit Sports Nation? I am Eric Vincent. Welcome to the DSN News Desk. Thank you for your time and support. And speaking of support, I'm going to need a lot of it from y'all today because I'm reaching my limit with the Detroit Pistons. I know it's early. I know we've tried teaching and talking about patience for quite some time with this team, but I'm getting to my limit at this point. And I know there's a lot of things that they still get through. I'm having a hard time dealing with it right now, y'all. I can't front. 112-88 final score today against their first regular season matchup against the Cleveland Cavaliers, a much improved Cleveland Cavalier team, where, at least for tonight, I thought the Pistons had a chance where they could maybe, just maybe, sneak a W against another contender, like they did against Golden State, like they did performing well against the Milwaukee Bucks team. I thought maybe this could be another time where they have that opportunity. Whew, boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong. Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland were out of the lineup today for the Cleveland Cavaliers. And based on the final score and how this game panned out, you wouldn't have even known that it made a difference. Pistons were absolutely terrible today, man. This is a really bad game for what we saw. Again, 112-88 the final score. A lot of the same issues just really being highlighted with this team game after game after game. Another horrible performance on the glass, allowing 47 rebounds to the Cleveland Cavaliers, only 34 by the Detroit Pistons. Another game where they had more turnovers than they had assists. 18 turnovers to 16 assists. Again, another night of being dominated inside. 58 points in the paint allowed to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Only 24 put up by the Detroit Pistons on their end. And the Cleveland Cavaliers, for right now, and I hate saying this because I don't like the Cavaliers, but they are modeled exactly how you want a team to play because they play to their strengths, even when their strengths are not at full strength at that moment. Because, again, their two best scorers were off the floor. They didn't have Donovan Mitchell or Darius Garland, their best playmakers off the floor, and they were able to make up for it with no issue. Their bigs absolutely dominated the Pistons today, and it was horrible to watch. Jarrett Allen, 23 points, 11 of 16 from the field, 7 rebounds, an absolute dominant performance by him. Evan Mobley didn't really score that impressively, 11 points, but had 8 blocks to control the paint against the Detroit Pistons. Kevin Love almost had a triple-double off the bench for this team, in ways that we didn't even see Kevin Love be this effective. Kevin Love's always been a great passer, but flirting with triple-doubles off the bench, this is completely different for him. 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 10 assists. If he would have had the 10 rebounds and 8 assists, he had more assists than he had rebounds today. And at this point, Kevin Love is really just a spot-up shooter and a guy that really is not supposed to be as impactful as he was today. But the Pistons are just really getting beat up in the most problematic areas that they have on their roster. And I don't know how much longer I can watch it, you guys. I'm really upset because I thought, for one, we saw from James Edwards III, we saw a lot from the beat writers that Jalen Duren we thought was going to play. He's been nursing an ankle injury. He's one of the best bigs that the Pistons have, one of the most promising bigs that they have, and he didn't get to go today. Even though he's listed as probable, they still sat him down for another game. I'm okay with that, even though I wanted him to play, but I'm upset because it's really becoming a pain just to watch these teams, these elite teams in the NBA, play to their strengths, unlike the Pistons, where the Pistons seemingly aren't even trying to play or utilize the strengths that they have yet. Now, part of it is because of the injuries. Hopefully we'll have Marvin Bagley soon. Hopefully Darren will be back soon. And hopefully we won't have to see much of Nerlens Noel, who is struggling not even just to score or play defense or rebound. He can't even catch the ball in the lane to make a move at the rim. So hopefully we won't have to see him. Dwayne Casey's been saying we only going to play him if we have to break the glass in case of emergency. Hopefully that emergency is gone. But based on what we see with this Pistons team right now, the things that are killing me right now, again, they're not playing to their strengths. And they're not even playing with an identity or establishing an identity at this point. For the Cavaliers, what's their identity? Their front court, their defense, their length, their ability to rebound, and then their scoring guards who come in and dominate. That's their identity. The front line plays the best defense they can. They're good enough to switch on the perimeter, and then they let their guards feast offensively. That's their identity. What's the Pistons' identity right now? Are they a great shooting team? No. Are they a great defensive team? No. Rebounding team? No. The Pistons are a mess right now. Pistons are an absolute mess, and I'm having a hard time dissecting this, like, for real. Again, it's early. It would be unfair to break the alarm at this point, but I'm getting to a point where we need to see some changes. It's becoming annoying watching the same problems get repeated with this team, watching them get beat the same exact ways by these teams. We wanted to see them compete. That's what Dwayne Casey and Troy Weaver preached all offseason. We want to compete. Even if they don't win, you want to compete. And when your team is playing against the Cleveland Cavaliers without their 2 all-star guards, you should be able to at least cover a 20-point gap with this team. I don't care. I know the Cavaliers are a good team, but without their 2 best players, with Evan Mobley not looking super impressive offensively, outside of a couple dunks that he had put in his lap, a lot of the other plays they were running were just open threes and the ability to get putbacks and score at will against the Pistons in the lane. Karis LeVert lobbing to Jared Allen for lobs repeatedly in the second quarter. It was very simplistic what they were doing against the Pistons today. And they didn't have an answer in any way, shape, or form. And you're starting to see a lot of the frustration come out. I saw Cade Cunningham's face. We saw it on the bench. That boy looked frustrated. He looks absolutely frustrated. I hate watching him play like this. I hate seeing the Pistons not being able to play to their full strength and their full potential like they did last season, where they were turning the corner and looking like a more exciting and capable team. We're not seeing that from them right now. Now, granted, it's not all their fault, and I'm not going to get on the board of saying fire Dwayne Casey yet. I'm not going to do that. They need to, at the very least, be competitive in these kind of stretches, because when you're sitting here getting beat down by 20 plus, getting out-rebounded, dominated inside the paint, changes have to be happening at some point. I've said I'm hoping within 20 games we see something from Dwayne Casey. If we don't, we can come out with pitchforks and do what we need to do. But it's early right now. I'm trying to be calm about it. It just sucks. It just sucks seeing this kind of a rebuild, because I don't want to see the Pistons in the position to... Great. This might sound crazy to say. I didn't think coming into the season that the Pistons were going to be in tank mode again. If they're in a position to get Victor Wembanyama or Scoot Jones from the G League, I would be a little worried about that, because you have an increase in talent up and down this roster. At some point, they should be able to turn it on and look like a team with promise to the future. If they're getting beat down like this and have another horrible record like they had last season and put themselves in a position where they're high in the lottery again, I'm going to be a little discouraged by that. I want to see this team get better from what they did last season. I'm okay with struggling. I'm okay with not winning every game. I'm okay with some issues. I'm having a hard time being okay with the same issues being repeated over and over again with this team. It's just becoming hard to watch, man. Like, I can't watch them have no offensive game plan. Their game plans suck offensively. Jaden Ivey, catch the ball up top, ISO, maybe you can find a player on the wing to swing to for a 3. That's it. Cade, ISO, maybe you get a soft screen from Beef Stew, and, maybe you get a pull-up midi to find an open shot. They don't have no kind of offensive rhythm. Now, hopefully when the bigs return, they'll be able to establish that. But it's just frustrating watching this consistent repetition of no play with this team. And it doesn't seem like, while some players we do believe are getting better and showing promise, everybody is not getting better on this team. Everybody is not taking that step where you can feel comfortable about them in the future. Beef Stew didn't have a good game today. 6 points, 4 rebounds, didn't really do much today. Wasn't that effective. Bojan didn't have a good game. Jaden Ivey was okay. 18 points. Was still a little bit sloppy with his dribble. 4 turnovers. And again, he just seemed to play out of control where they don't have much of a game plan. 19 points for Cade Cunningham. 5 and 5 to complete his box score. 18 points for Sadiq Bey. Again, just kind of a lolly little performance by the starting lineup. And then the bench. The bench is terrible. The bench is absolutely horrible. I think who we really need to start talking about, who I haven't took enough time to talk about yet, is Killian Hayes. I've tried to be patient with him too. Killian looks cooked at this point of the season. He does not look like the dude we saw versus OKC last season. He does not look like who we saw in the preseason this year. He looks just shot at this point. His confidence doesn't look the same. He doesn't look like he's looking to score. His jump shot doesn't look confident. We see him constantly get the ball in transition, and he doesn't even go to the lane. He'll dribble into the paint around the free throw line and then dribble out and look for something else to do. Kick it to somebody else. Killian looks terrible at this point. I don't really know where his future rides, but he's not doing himself no favors. I don't know if it has to do with the depth and the talent around him, but he is not looking good right now. It's not a whole lot of guys in this team right now that do look good. Again, I'm hoping that Marvin Bagley, that Alec Burks, Jalen Duren, I'm hoping at some point when those guys return, which should be soon, based on their timeline, based on what we've seen from Dwayne Casey, they should be coming back soon. I'm hoping those pieces are enough to make this team a lot more competitive than what we're seeing. But unfortunately, we're seeing a guy that Jalen Duren is inexperienced. Alec Burke has not played for this team yet, and Marvin Bagley still has holes in his game. So you're going to be relying a lot on guys that have not established themselves with this team and established themselves enough as individual players where you can pencil them in to be sure that they're going to make the needed improvements for this lineup. Like, can we say that we'll be able to just use Marvin Bagley as a reliable post threat in this team because you don't have one right now? No, we don't know that. We haven't seen that from him. His best attribute has been being a lob threat. Do we know for him to be a consistent knockdown shooter? Someone to have a reliable mid-range game? No. We haven't seen that yet. Have we seen enough from Jalen Duren where he's only touching the ball, it seems like, one time a quarter when he's been playing? So how much can we really rely on him at this point? Alec Burks, again, we have not seen him play with the Detroit Pistons, so it's going to take some time for him to ramp up even as a veteran. So we're dealing with a lot of rough times with this team right now. I'm struggling dealing with it. I would love your support. Talk to me in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking about the game, because if you're feeling like me, you're feeling this big sense of frustration with what you're seeing. The Pistons struggle to rotate on defense. Their inability to box out and deal with teams that have size in the paint. It's just a lot of the same thing, man. And I'm really getting annoyed with what I'm seeing. Again, talk to me. I'd love to hear from you. I want to hear your feedback about what you saw from the Pistons tonight. And again, we talked about it before. When do you think some changes will happen? And what are those changes going to be? Do you think it's going to be a lineup change? Do you think they're going to change some of their philosophies in their defense, their offense? We've been hearing it from y'all. Dwayne Casey, fire Dwayne Casey. Do you think that's going to be happening soon? Talk to me in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think is coming up next for this team. It's a lot of changes that need to be made. I want to hear what you guys are thinking. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to our channel. We are just within 100 subscribers to push it to 5,000 and hit that milestone. We keep talking about it. We're getting closer and closer. If you're new to the channel, please hit subscribe and help make that happen for us. We really appreciate that love and support. Make sure you're tapping in on our social media as well. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the above. Search and follow Detroit Sports Nation. And give me a follow as well at I am Eric Vincent so we can tap in and talk Pistons, of course, on the timeline. And hopefully by the time we do, we'll see a little bit better product on the court, man. I'm waiting for it. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm doing everything I can to woo side and stay calm through it all. But again, I appreciate your support and you checking out the video, giving the time for here. Make sure you hit us up, and I'll be right back in due time here with another update right here from the DSN News Desk. Peace.